Today we are going to discuss forward markets. First of all, what is a forward market? Now, a forward market is a marketplace that offers financial instruments that are priced in advance for future delivery. It tends to be referenced as the foreign exchange market, but it can also apply to securities, commodities, and interest rates. So, forward market facilitates the exchange of forwards and future contracts, setting the price of a delivered asset or financial instrument. Forward contract pricing is based on the difference in interest rates between two currencies being traded, particularly within foreign exchange. Otherwise, it would be based on the yield curve. So, forward contracts differ from futures because they are customizable on offer size and maturity date, while futures tend to be standardized. So, a forward market is an over the counter marketplace that sets the price of a financial instrument or asset for future delivery. Forward markets are used for trading a range of instruments, but the term is primarily used with reference to the foreign exchange market. It can also apply to markets for securities and interest rates as well as commodities. Forward contracts differ from future contracts in that they are customizable in terms of size, length, or maturity term, which I just told you, right? Then, forward contract pricing is based on interest rate discrepancies. The most commonly traded currencies in the foreign market are the same as in the spot market, like euro, dollar, to US dollar to Japanese yen, and Great Britain pound to US dollar. Now, how a forward market works. So, forward market creates forward contracts. The forward contracts are meant to be used for speculative purposes as well as for hedging. So, forward contracts are transacted between banks and banks to customers. The forward market offers both forward and future contracts. So the two differ in that forward contracts can be customized to the holder's request, whereas future contracts tend to be standardized regarding maturity and order size. So then, what is a forward contract per se? A forward contract allows a party to buy or sell an asset at a predetermined price within a specified time in the future. Forward contracts can be customized to a commodity, delivery date, and order size. So, commodities can include grains, natural gas, oil, precious metals, and many more things. So, based on that contract, a forward settlement can either be a recurring monthly cash payment or on a once delivery basis. Now, for example, let us say you want to buy gold to diversify your portfolio and hedge yourself against any downside from, let us say, Standard and Poor's 500. Now, at the moment, gold is $2,000 per ounce. If you believe gold will skyrocket in 1 year to $2,500 per ounce, and you decide to enter into a position with gold producer with asking of $2,000 1 year from now, that is the ongoing rate. So it means that the gold producer must give you his gold in 1 year for the price of $2,000, regardless of what the market price will be then. So the payment can be conducted on a predetermined basis, whether that may be monthly, quarterly, yearly, or when the goods are delivered. Now, forward contracts are known to be the over the counter instruments since they are not traded on centralized exchanges. That being said, they are exposed to a higher degree of default risk but also offers a higher potential return. Now, how does it work? So, assume that you decide to subscribe to a cable TV. Now, as the buyer, you enter into an agreement with the cable company to receive a certain number of cable channels at a set price every month for the next year. Now, this contract made with the cable company is like a futures contract, in that you have agreed to receive a product at a future date with the price and terms of delivery already set. You have secured your price for the next 12 months, even if the price of cable rises during that time. Now, by entering into this agreement with the cable company, you have reduced your risk of having to pay a higher price. An important concept is that a futures contract is an agreement between two parties. One who holds a short position, the party who agrees to deliver a commodity, and one who holds a long position, that is the party who agrees to receive a commodity. So the short position who's selling and long position who's going to receive. Now, forward markets create forward contracts. So the forward contracts are meant to be used for speculative purposes, like I've told you, as well as for hedging. Now, forward contracts are transacted between banks and banks to customers. The forward markets offer both forward and future contracts. And what is the difference between the two? The two differ in the forward contracts can be customized to holders' requests, whereas future contracts tend to be very standardized, like 500 units of this commodity for 1 month period is readily available to you for 2 months for 45 days. So that is the maturity period, order size, everything is very standardized in case of futures contracts. Now, forward markets facilitates the exchange of forward and futures contracts, setting the price of delivered asset or financial instrument. Forward contract pricing is based on the difference in interest rates between two currencies being traded, particularly within foreign exchange. Otherwise, it would be based on the yield curve. Now, forward contracts differ from future because they are customizable on offer size and maturity date, while futures tend to be standardized. I hope that is the difference between futures and forwards is clear to you now. Now, pricing. Prices in forward market are interest rate based. In the foreign exchange market, the forward price is derived from the interest rate differential between the two currencies, which is applied over the period from the transaction date to the settlement date of the contract. In interest rate forwards, the price is based on the yield curve to maturity. Foreign exchange forwards. So, interbank forward foreign exchange market are priced and executed as swaps. Now, this means that a currency A is purchased versus currency B for delivery on the spot date at the spot rate in the market at the time the transaction is executed. At maturity, currency A is sold versus currency B at the original spot rate plus or minus the forward points. Now, this price is set when the swap is initiated. So the interbank market usually trades for trade dates such as a week or a month from the spot date. 3 and 6 month maturities are among the most common ones, whereas the market is less liquid beyond 12 months. So amounts are commonly $25 million or more and can range into the billions. Customers, both corporations and financial institutions such as hedge funds and mutual funds, can execute forwards with a bank counterparty either as a swap or an outright transaction. In an outright forward, currency A is bought versus currency B for delivery on the maturity date, which can be any business day beyond the spot date. So the price is again the spot rate plus or minus the forward points, but no money changes hands until the maturity date. So outright forwards are often for odd dates and amounts, and they can be for any size. Non-deliverable forwards. So currencies for which there is no standard forward market can be traded via non-deliverable forward. These are executed offshore to avoid trading restrictions and are only executed as swaps and are cash settled in dollars or euros. So the most commonly traded currencies are the Chinese renminbi, South Korean won, and Indian rupee. To understand it once again, let's see what are forward contracts. Forward contracts, they allows the parties to buy or sell an asset at a predetermined price within a specified time in the future. So forward contracts can be customized to a commodity, delivery date, and order size. Commodities can include grains, natural gas, oil, precious metals, and many other things. Based on the contract, a forward settlement can either be a recurring monthly cash payment or on a once delivered basis. Now, for example, if I repeat my example here, that if S wants to buy gold to diversify his portfolio and hedge himself against any downside from Standard and Poor's 500, at the moment gold is $2,000 per ounce, but he believes gold will skyrocket in 1 year to 2,500 ounce per dollar and decides to enter into a position with a gold producer with an asking price of $2,000 per ounce 1 year from now. So it means gold producer must give S his gold in 1 year for the price of $2,000 per ounce, regardless of what the market price is then. So the payment can be conducted on a predetermined basis, whether that may be monthly, quarterly, yearly, or when the goods are delivered. So forward contracts are known to be over-the-counter instruments since they are not traded on a centralized exchange. That all being said, they are exposed to a high degree of default risk but also offer a high potential return. So in our example, there is a default risk that the producer of gold may or may not give him the gold after 1 year. Let us say if that skyrockets to $4,000 per ounce, then the risk of delivery becomes even more questionable, as well as it has higher potential return because he's going to earn $500 per ounce within a span of 1 year by entering into this contract. So now what is a futures contract and how is it different from a forward contract? It all is standardization. Future contracts are standardized. So a future contract refers to an agreement that allows a party to buy or sell an asset at a predetermined price with a specified time in the future. And these are standardized contracts, particularly in the quantity of ordering size as well as date. Now, buyers who enter a futures contract are obligated to buy the goods from the seller based on what is written in the contract when the delivery date arrives. Vice versa, the seller is obligated to sell the goods to the buyer on the delivery date based on the price written in the contract. Now, regardless of what the market price is on the exchange date. Now, within the forward market, contracts are priced based on interest rates. For example, in the foreign exchange market, forward prices stem from the differences in interest rate between two currencies. So the value is then applied over from the transaction to the settlement date of the contract. Another instance would be interest rate forwards, where the price is derived from the yield curve. Now, forwards not within the forward market. So, in some cases, there are currencies where there is no standard forward market to trade upon. Such an entity is known as a non-deliverable forward. Often, the contracts are executed offshore, implying that they are conducted outside the domestic market to reduce the trading restrictions. In addition, there are only executed as swaps and are cash settled in either euros or dollars. Generally, the most commonly traded currencies of such nature are won from South Korea and the rupee from India. Now, what is a forward rate? So, a forward rate is an interest rate applicable to a financial transaction that will take place in the future. So forward rates are calculated from the spot rate and are adjusted for the cost of carry to determine the future interest rate that equates the total return of a longer term investment with a strategy of rolling over a shorter term investment. Now, the term may also refer to the rate fixed for a future financial obligation, such as interest rate on a loan payment. Now, understanding forward rates. In foreign exchange, the forward rate specified in an agreement is a contractual obligation that must be honored by the parties involved. For example, consider an American exporter with a large export order pending for Europe, and the exporter undertakes to sell 10 million euros in exchange for dollars at a forward rate of 1.35 euros per US dollar in 6 months' time. Now, the exporter is obligated to deliver 10 million euros at the specified forward rate on the specified date, regardless of the status of the export order or the exchange rate prevailing in the spot market at that time. For this very reason, forward rates are widely used for hedging purposes in the currency markets. Since currency forwards can be tailored for specific requirements, unlike futures which have fixed contract size and expiry dates and therefore cannot be customized. Now, in the context of bonds, forward rates are calculated to determine future values. For example, an investor can purchase a 1-year treasury bill or buy a 6-month bill and roll it into another 6-month bill once it matures. Now, the investor will be indifferent if both investments produce the same total return. For example, the investor will know the spot rate for the 6-month bill and will also know the rate of a 1-year bond at the initiation of the investment, but they will not know the value of 6-month bill that is to be purchased 6 months from now. Forward rates in practice. To mitigate reinvestment risks, the investor could enter into a contractual agreement that would allow them to invest funds 6 months from now at the current forward rate. Now, fast forward 6 months, if the market spot rate for a new 6-month investment is lower, the investor could use the forward rate agreement to invest the funds from the mature T-bill at the more favorable forward rate. If the spot rate is high enough, the investor could cancel the forward rate agreement and invest the funds at the prevailing market rate of interest on a new 6-month investment. So, regarding the long positions and short positions, we have spoken about them already, but if we talk about the stock and options, analysts and market makers often refer to an investor having long positions or short positions. Now, while long and short in financial matters can refer to several other things, in our context, rather than a reference to length, long positions and short positions are a reference to what an investor owns and stocks an investor needs to own. So, long position, if an investor has a long position, it means that the investor has bought and owns those shares of stocks. By contrast, if the investor has short position, it means that the investor owes those stocks to someone but does not actually own them yet. Now, for example, an investor who owns 100 shares of Tesla stock in his portfolio is said to be longing 100 shares, whereas this investor has paid in full the cost of owning the shares. With stocks, a long position means an investor has bought and owned shares of stock. On the flip side of the same equation, an investor with a short position owes stock to another person but has not actually bought them yet. With options, buying or holding a call or put option is a long position, the investor owns the right to buy or sell to the writing investor at a certain price. Conversely, selling or writing a call or put option is a short position. The writer must sell to or buy from the long position holder or buyer of the option. Short position. Continuing with our example, an investor who has sold 100 shares of Tesla without yet owning those shares is said to be short of 100 shares. Now, the short investor owes 100 shares at settlement and must fulfill the obligation by purchasing the shares in the market to deliver. Oftentimes, the short investor borrows the shares from a brokerage firm in a margin account to make the delivery. Then, with hopes the stock market price will fall, the investor buys the share at a lower price to pay back the dealer who loaned them. If the price doesn't fall and keeps going up, the short seller may be subject to a margin call from his broker. A margin call occurs when an investor's account value falls below the broker's required minimum value. The call is for the investor to deposit additional money or securities so that the margin account is brought up to the minimum maintenance margin. What are the key differences between the two? When an investor uses options contracts in an account, long and short positions have slightly different meanings. Buying or holding a call or put option is a long position because the investor owns the right to buy or sell the security to the writing investor at a specified price. Selling or writing a call or put option is just the opposite and is a short position because the writer is obligated to sell the shares to or buy the shares from the long position holder or buyer of the option. For example, an individual buys, or let's say he goes long with one Tesla call option from a call writer for $28.70. So the writer is short the call. The strike price on the option is $275 if Tesla trades for $303.70 in the market. Now the writer gets to keep the premium payment of $28.70 but is obligated to sell Tesla at $275. If the buyer decides to exercise the contract at any time before it expires. Now the call buyer who is long has the right to buy the shares at $275 at expiration from the writer if the market value of the Tesla is greater than $275 plus those $228.70 which amounts to $303.70. Now, what are the special considerations in long and short positions? Long and short positions are used by investors to achieve a very different result, and oftentimes both long and short positions are established simultaneously by an investor to leverage or produce income on a security. Long call option positions are bullish as the investor expects the stock price to rise and buy calls with a lower strike price. An investor can hedge his long stock position by creating a long put option position, giving him the right to sell his stock at a guaranteed price. Short call option positions offer a similar strategy to short selling without the need to borrow the stock. Long and short positions are used by investors to achieve different results, and oftentimes both long and short positions are established simultaneously by an investor to leverage or produce income on a security. Long call option positions are bullish as the investor expects the stock price to rise and buys call with a lower strike price. An investor can hedge his long stock position by creating a long put option position, giving him the right to sell his stock at a guaranteed price. Short call option positions offer a similar strategy to short selling without the need to borrow the stock. Also, this position allows the investor to collect the option premium as income with the possibility of delivering his long stock position at a guaranteed, usually higher price. Conversely, a short put position gives the investor the possibility of buying the stock at a specified price and he collects the premium while waiting. Now, these are just a few examples of how combining long and short positions with different securities can create leverage and hedge against losses in a portfolio. It is important to remember that short positions come with higher risks and due to the nature of certain positions may be limited in IRAs and other cash accounts. Margin accounts are generally needed for most short positions, and your brokerage firm needs to agree that more risky positions are suitable for you. So hence, the short put position is going to give the investor the possibility of buying the stock at a specified price, but you'll have to pay premium for it, right? So, a forward premium is frequently measured as the difference between the current spot rate and the forward rate. So, it is reasonable to assume that the future spot rate will be equal to the current futures rate. According to the forward expectations theory of exchange rates, the current spot future rate will be the future spot rate. Now, this theory is rooted in empirical studies and is reasonable assumption over a long-term time horizon. A forward premium is a situation in which the forward or expected future price for a currency is greater than the spot price. A forward premium is frequently measured as the difference between the current spot rate and the forward rate. When a forward premium is negative, it is equivalent to a discount. Now, how do we calculate forward rate premium? We can just see it. So, the basis of calculating a forward rate requires both the current spot price of the currency and the interest rates in the two currencies. Now, we consider an example here that there is an exchange between Japanese yen and US dollar. So a 90-day yen to a dollar forward exchange rate is, let us say, 109.50. So the spot rate yen to dollar is 109.38. So calculation for annualized forward premium would be 109.50. That is your 90-day forward exchange rate minus 109.38, that is the spot rate, divided by 109.38, that is the spot rate. So forward exchange rate minus spot rate upon spot rate into, for how long this is there, for 90 days. So 360 divided by 90 into 100%, that is 0.44% is the annualized forward premium. Now in this case, the dollar is strong relative to the yen since the dollar's forward value exceeds the spot value by the premium of 0.12 yen per dollar. So the yen would trade at a discount because its forward value regarding dollars is less than its spot rate. Now to calculate the forward discount for yen, you first have to calculate the forward exchange rate and spot rates for yen in the relationship of dollars per yen. So the yen per dollar forward exchange rate is 1 divided by 109.50, that is 0.0091. Now yen to dollar spot rate is 1 divided by 109.38, that is 0.0091424. So annualized discount rate again would be what? The forward rate, forward exchange rate minus spot rate divided by spot rate. So forward exchange rate is 0.0091324 minus 0.0091424 divided by the spot rate. Spot exchange rate for yen to dollar is 0.90091,424. Now it was for 90-day forward exchange rate, and hence 360 divided by 90 into 100%, that is also 0.44%. So this is how you calculate the forward rate premium. Now for the calculation of periods other than a year, you would put the number of days as shown in the following example. So a 3-month forward rate is equivalent to the spot rate multiplied by 1 plus domestic rate times 90 upon 360 upon 1 plus foreign rate times 90 upon 360. So calculate the forward rate, multiply the spot rate by the ratio of interest rates and adjust for the time until expiration. So the forward rate is equal to the spot rate into the 1 plus domestic rate divided by 1 plus foreign interest rate. So as an example, assume the current US dollar to euro exchange rate as $1.1365. So the domestic interest rate on the US rate is 5% and the foreign interest rate is 4.75%. Plugging the values into the equation results in 1.365 into 1.05 upon 1.0475. That is equal to $1.1392. Now in this case, it reflects a forward premium. So what is a forward discount? It is a term that denotes a condition in which the forward or expected future price for currency is less than the spot price. So it is an indication by the market that the currency, the current domestic exchange rate is going to decline against another currency. This forward discount is measured by comparing the current spot price with the spot price plus net interest payment over a given length of time to the price of forward exchange contract for the same length of time. If the forward contract price is less than the spot plus expected interest payment, then the condition of a forward discount exists. So forward premium is a condition that exists in comparison between a forward exchange contract and the spot price of a currency. Now to understand this condition, you first need to understand what forward contracts are. Now forward contracts are like futures but not standardized and executed with the two specific parties in an over-the-counter transaction. Now forward discounts imply that those who enter into forward contract expect the currency they intend to exchange into to decrease at some point in the future. And how does it work? While it often occurs, a forward discount does not always lead to a decline in the currency exchange rate. It is merely the expectation that it will happen because of the alignment of the spot forward and future pricing. Now, typically, it reflects possible changes arising from the differences in interest rates between the currencies of the two countries involved. Forward currency exchange rates are often different from the spot exchange rate for the currency. If the forward exchange rate of a currency is more than the spot exchange rate, a premium exists for that currency and a discount happens when the forward exchange rate is less than the spot rate. A negative premium is equivalent to a discount is what we have already understood. These are the references. Thank you for listening.